The traffic pattern downstream is complementary to the upstream pattern. Here, stay to the right and slowly steer left without cutting the corner. Remember to not cut the corner here either. The shore against this boardwalk is nearly always muddy or exposed at low tide. Steer clear without crossing the center line. This shore is also often very shallow or exposed. Steer wide enough to avoid the hazard, but not too wide, nor should you cut the corner. Recall as we approach the straightaway that there are 2 lanes for boats and a passing lane in the middle for launches and passing crews. Follow the curve of the shore as you go and take care not to wander into the upstream lanes. As you can see here, the straightaway is a gradual left-hand turn. This is Manilus. This is the finish line for most straightaway pieces. After Manilus, you must turn left and begin lining up to go through the bridge, avoiding the shallow patch to the right, here. You should set yourself up to go through the freeway overpass well in advance. First, aim for the span that has a lamp post over it. Going through the bridges is a challenge for all coxswains that can be very dangerous if not executed correctly. More damage and injury occurs here than at any other point on the creek. One thing that tends to throw off a coxswain is tide. Remember that if the tide is with you, you will move faster than perceived. You will need to anticipate turns sooner than normal. Approach the span at a slight angle, then begin turning to the right just before you reach the bridge. At this point, aim for this power pole and the white X on the bridge, and you should see the second opening to your right. Continue steering right until you have a straight shot between the final bridge pillar to the left and the dock on the right. It is not recommended that you do this all 8 unless you are very experienced, like Maggie. At the same time, going too slow will cause you to have reduced steering ability, which could make it difficult to maneuver. By 4s is appropriate for most coxswains. Here you will pass through the trestle carefully. Be sure to check for oncoming traffic. You have the right of way going in this direction, however you may need to stop to avoid a collision. Immediately after passing through the trestle, go to the correct side of traffic. This is the area known as the playpen. It is a gradual left-hand turn. Early in the morning, this is a quiet zone, meaning no amplified sound, including cox boxes. It is important to note that the entire Corte Madera Creek is a quiet zone early in the morning. No cox boxes, megaphones, or loud voices are permitted. Quiet times are until 7 a.m. on weekdays and 8 a.m. on weekends. We will now proceed into the Ferry Channel. This body of water is wider and simpler in some ways than the creek. However, there is an added hazard as well. Ferries. Ferries are required to slow down as you approach. However, their wake does remain and can be damaging. There is also a tenuous relationship between the club and the ferry company. The rule is, if you respect the fact that they are on a time schedule and try not to hold them up, they will respect you. As you proceed out into the channel, you can choose to go into the ferry channel itself, or even into the small boat channel, although it is not recommended. One thing to be very aware of out here in the ferry channel are the pilings that mark the boundaries of the channel. They tend to be very unforgiving. The ferry channel itself is 6 lanes wide, 3 outbound and 3 inbound. Lane 1 is always against the green pilings. Lane 3 next to the center line of the waterway. There is also a bonus lane inside the small boat channel. Be very careful, especially if you are in lane 3, not to cross the center lane into oncoming traffic. This is a graphical representation of the ferry channel traffic pattern. As you can see, the center lane is an actual lane that runs down the center of the channel. This lane exists for passing and launches. It is also intended to keep the lane 3 crews from getting unnecessarily close. This set of pilings approaching marks 365 meters from the finish line. As you approach the third set of pilings, you will begin to see that the channel turns slightly to the left. Hold your course until you can almost see down the right-hand side pilings, then turn. Most coxswains tend to turn too soon here, putting them at risk of crossing into oncoming traffic. Watch as Maggie executes this turn.
I know she said it's alright, but you gon' make it up next time. I know she knows it's not right. There ain't no use in.
This set of pilings marks 735 meters to the finish line. The next set of pilings in the distance are 1,350 meters from the finish line. You should never be beyond these markers when a ferry is approaching. Remember when turning around to paddle across the center line of the traffic pattern before resuming your row. If you wish to fully understand the 1,000 and 2,000 meter race courses, study the maps on the wall downstairs next to the cox boxes.
Oftentimes we're lazy. It seems to stand in my way. 'Cause no one, not no one likes to be let down. I know she loves the sunrise. No longer sees it with her sleeping eyes, and I know that when she said she's gonna try, well, it might